So today I'm going to be discussing the way people deal with sadness, specifically, and negative affect in general. We can think about how do people deal with it. There's a lot of not very productive ways people deal with it. They ruminate, they overeat, they overdrink. And there's some work suggesting that they spend more. So Jen Lerner and colleagues have work suggesting that when people are sad, their willingness to pay increases. This tendency is known as retail therapy. And the question that we had was, well, does it work? Can retail therapy be effective? And we think that the central component of shopping, choice, which we think delivers control, helps to alleviate one negative emotion, which is sadness. So shopping choices seem to boost a sense of personal control, which in turn helps to alleviate sadness. It doesn't appear to extend to anger. Perhaps other kinds of shopping that we didn't look at would help with anger. Maybe shopping where you get control over other people, like winning an eBay auction. That could help. That could help with anger. So there is stigma surrounding retail therapy that might actually discourage it. So sad people who might benefit from it might not do it because they fear being judged as foolish or judging themselves as foolish. But of course, this gets back to that calendar that I put up about intensive retail therapy. If you keep doing this through every ad that you see that makes you sad, if you hop on Amazon, that's not necessarily a good idea. You could build up debt and kind of jeopardize the control that you were trying to restore in the first place. So it has to be applied with caution.
So I'm going to talk about a topic that doesn't get a lot of surprisingly attention in the marketing literature, gets some attention in economics literature, on how consumers make choices about rental versus buying options. It used to be when you're thinking about rentals, you used to think about those rent-a-center stores that are a little bit creepy. A very small population of people go there because they don't have other choices, essentially. Now you can rent anything. Marketers, given this, should actually pay attention to the rental industry. It is a huge industry. People make decisions differently. We should be behaving very differently when we advertise or promote products that are targeted to be as rentals versus as purchases. Consumers do take renting and buying decisions very differently, right? They have huge implications for choice, as well as how they make those decisions in the process. Even this happens in categories where price, disposal costs, consumption lengths is really not an issue. So where economically they shouldn't be favoring rental over buying anyways. People making rentals will be more accepting and amicable to more premium pricing. At the same time, discounts work much better with buying decisions. And if you're thinking about choice architecture, right, making more elaborate choices, decision process really important for buying, creating an environment where people feel like they've actually put due diligence before they make buying decisions will work really well for buying, but not so much for rentals. Product categories, right? It feels like in some product categories, this bar is even higher for buying than for renting, particularly hedonic or luxury kind of goods. My first example, bag, borrow, steal, it will take a lot of elaboration on my side to spend money on buying something like expensive designer handbag, but renting kind of feels okay, right? Going back to that example. And finally, in terms of advertising, it seems like highlighting, even very simple, like we did in the last study, this element of possibility of reversibility of buying decision might make them more comparable to rental and increase the choice share.
What has confused researchers in online and word of mouth for a long time is why do people post responses to queries like this? Earlier research in this area has looked at the different goals that consumers have for providing these kinds of responses. Maybe it is altruism. Maybe they want to make the world a better place by making sure everyone stays in the right kind of hotel. Or they might be really mad at one of the hotels or other service providers and get their anger out by posting a very negative commentary. So clearly, what we find interesting is that many of these goals conflict with that goal of eliciting accurate information. We can also think about implications for platform design. If the creators of a platform want to provide the most accurate information for advice seekers, it's reasonable that they might take away the ability to see previous responses because they seem to be influencing discussion quite heavily. If everyone is the first respondent, right, they're going to provide the information that is relevant to the advice seeker, as we saw in our control condition when people didn't have a previous response to reflect on.